Welcome to the stage, Dr. Sophie Two Hawk. Dr. Sophie Mars Two Hawk, MD, Humpy Ilapeli, which translates to cedar coming up out of the ground woman, is a trailblazing physician and member of the O'Ohe Lupa, Two Kettle Band of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. Inspired by a lineage of women healers, she became the first and youngest Native American graduate of the University of South Dakota School of Medicine in 1987 at 23 years old. She went on to serve for over 20 years as a commissioned officer in the U.S. Public Health Service, holding leadership roles across the Indian Health Service and the Department of Defense. Dr. Two Hawk has combined clinical excellence with cultural advocacy, educating healthcare professionals on Native American health beliefs, and improving representation in medicine. She has served in medical and academic roles across South Dakota. A mentor, speaker, and cultural educator, she continues to inspire the next generation, including her own daughters, to pursue careers in medicine with compassion and cultural integrity.
You've all been taller than me. Ampete washte. Good evening. Wopila takashla na Yahweh wanikia mie. I first want to start by thanking God and Jesus, my Savior, for bringing me on my journey of life this far and to bring me here tonight to receive this honor. I was somewhat speechless when Lori first called me and told me about being inducted into the Hall of Fame, as I knew my daughter had nominated me, but I also knew that there were very many very deserving people and wonderful and talented people that we have in this state. I want to thank the South Dakota Hall of Fame for this wonderful honor and for allowing me to be here this evening. I grew up mostly in South Dakota, very relatively poor. My father was an Episcopal priest. My mother was a medical technologist who worked intermittently. So, we lived mostly in the rectories and moved sometimes in 6 months and sometimes in a couple of years. Always self-moved, so my dad had, at one time, 10,000 books. We had to pack them all up, move them from one place to the other, so I got very good at that. But my mother, as a medical technologist, would work in some of the IHS hospitals when I was young, and we would often go in the summers and be up in the Cheyenne River Reservation, which is my home reservation. And one of the summers, one of the doctors would take us on rounds while she was doing the work in the lab to kind of cheer up some of the elders that were in the hospital. Of course, we wouldn't do that now because of HIPAA, but we could do it then. And that really kind of cemented the interest that I had always had in wanting to become a physician. And I didn't realize at the time, but later kind of found out that it was kind of a deeply rooted tradition in my family. My great-grandmother, Sophie Garrow Claymore, was a medicine woman, as was her great-grandmother before her. And actually, I'm wearing moccasins that she made for my grandmother, so just wanted to honor her that way. She kind of helped our family to kind of look at Wachosani, which is how we view health. And for us, Wachosani, or health, is actually a balance of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual health. So after I found that this is really my calling in life, I would tell my teachers in school that I wanted to become a physician. And most of them at the time, especially on the reservation schools, would look at me and say, nah, why don't you consider LPN school? Maybe RN school if you get a little, more help, because most Indians aren't very good in science or math. And without those, you're not going to be able to go to medical school. So, of course, I was a little stubborn, and this made me a little bit more determined, and I said, I'm going to do it. So I went through school. I actually finished high school a year early and graduated at 16 as valedictorian for my high school class. I then went on to college. Completed my undergraduate degree in 3 years, and then was able to start medical school. I attended the South Dakota School of Medicine here in the state, and was able to then graduate medical school at age 23, so thus becoming the youngest graduate that I've had so far. It was kind of tough at times, though. A lot of things happened in our family while I was in medical school. My grandmother died. And family for us is a very important part. But it was the love and the values that my parents and grandparents had taught me that helped me to persevere and to put the hard work values that they had instilled in me to make it through school. But as I was going through medical school, I realized that a lot of the things that we were being taught, especially about how to interview patients, wasn't totally appropriate for our Native American culture. So even though I was kind of quiet, I spoke up and said, we need to fix this. So we were able to kind of incorporate more of the Lakota or the cultural competencies into the teachings for the medical students. And then I also did a lot of talking at a lot of our hospitals and clinics to try to help people understand some of these values and how we view health so that we could try to improve the health care of our relatives in the state. And one of the things I also found that we needed was to be able to have mentors. Because as young people, we look up and see the people around us. A lot of people have mentioned, got to choose your friends. But you also need to choose people around you and surround yourself with people who are able to show you some things in life. And by finding a good mentor, then we can aspire to something, to becoming greater than maybe we would have been otherwise. And we didn't have a lot of good mentors among our reservation people. So that was one of my goals, was to try to become a very good mentor. So I spent a lot of my career working for the Indian Health Service and also as an active duty officer in the United States Public Health Service. And then eventually, after retiring from that, I've worked at Avera now for almost 6 years. My family and I have moved all over the country, all over the United States, and met very wonderful people, some of whom we've now adopted as family, and many of them are here. We faced many challenges, faced a lot of ignorance. Much of it was just because of lack of education. So we've worked hard to try to show people and try to help people understand some of that. And I want to thank all the people I've worked with, because as many other people have mentioned this evening, it really takes teamwork in order to be able to be successful in life. And a lot of the people who work for Indian Health Service oftentimes aren't thanked enough for the hard work and dedication that they put in. I also want to thank my family for putting up with me, for all the moving you've had to do. Well, I don't make you carry 10,000 books though. The long hours that I've had to put in, and sometimes it meant that we couldn't make to other events, or maybe I had to miss an event, and I'm sorry for that. Also for the struggles that I've gone through and some of the stress that I would bring home at times because of all of the frustrations sometimes we'd face at work because of government funding, issues with policies, sometimes just patient care issues, and some of the tragic things that I would see at work. I have a special thank you for my husband, Wopila Mihasani Watayala. I don't really remember the first time that he held me. I was 6 days old. His parents became my godparents, so I've known him all my life. But we've been married for 35 years, and he's my other half, the love of my life, who makes me laugh, who's been my rock. Thank you. We have 3 beautiful and talented daughters, and they've seen the work that I've had to do, the hours that I've had to put in, and all the things I put up with. So I wasn't too surprised when they decided to follow in my footsteps, just because of how deeply rooted medicine is in our family. But then again, hopefully that they can do much better than I've had done. And I'm so very, very proud of them. Our oldest daughter, Arna, is here this evening, who's now a family medicine physician. Her husband, Antonino, and their 3 wonderful children, Erica, Antonino III, Bronson Albert, who's kind of been helping to entertain everybody this evening. Our daughter, Carol, who couldn't be here this evening, is a psychiatrist. and her husband Derek have 3 wonderful children, Emma Jean, Derek John, and Henry. Our youngest daughter, Mashke, who's currently an undergraduate and looking to do something in the field of medicine, and her husband Noah, and their 2 children, Evelyn Jean and Noah Albert. Well, he's still awake over there or not, but please remember I will always love you. And I want to close by encouraging the next generation, because we try to look ahead to the next 7 generations, to get education, to pursue your dreams, even if you have to work a little bit harder sometimes to overcome some of the things that are around, not to give up, and pray about your decisions as God will help you. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, listening to my mother's speech, she very much is representing, the Lakota values that they raised us with. Most definitely some humility there. So we thank you for this opportunity, but, with Lakota values, it's important to be humble, but also it's important to honor those that have done things that have helped our community. Have helped our families, and we really appreciate this opportunity here. So we brought a few of, just a few, 3 actually star quilt blankets. If you've seen them before, we call them Wichakpi Owija. So they are something that's supposed to be a reminder that, we're connected to our ancestors, those before us, those on the other side of us watching over us, okay? And all I can think about is some words from my grandmother, Jean Mars, and that's my mother's mother here. She said, in her experiences being a pastor's wife, she's met a lot of people, and you give it time, and you find that we're more alike than we are different. So we appreciate this opportunity to honor our mother, and we have 3 star quilts tonight, one from the Black Bull family, one from a very good family friend, Kathy Krogman, and one from our tribe, the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe here. Okay. We love you, Mom.